Hey guys, we have Dawn Dacquisto here today. Please subscribe to her channel. Thank you, Dawn, for being here.
My pleasure. It's always my pleasure to be with you, Judy. Sorry, I'm squirming. I rearranged my cat toys and I'm still there in the way.
Okay, got to rearrange those cat toys for the live stream. So today we're going to go over Katherine Magbanua's part 1, Proffer, and we're going to try to do as much as we can given our time constraints. And we'll play a little bit of it, then do some commentary, then play some more, do some more commentary. So we'll do what we can within, say, about an hour. Does that sound okay?
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Yeah, and I do want to say that I have permission from James, Mentour Lawyer, Deep Dive True Crime, because sometimes it doesn't seem fair that some YouTubers are taking his footage, which he had to pay for, and then doing a reaction. And,
That's right.
you know, I'm also sharing part of the proceeds with him because I think that's fair. So
that's
thank
a great
you, James.
idea. That's a great idea. Thank you, James. I did the same thing. I made sure to get permission whenever I used, I did Wendy's 5-hour interview and Lacasse's, and he was so generous and gracious. But, you know, I think the lesson is just ask people for permission. You know, it's not that, yeah, just ask. And usually people are going to say yes.
Yeah, or at least, you know, I think it would be good to make a donation to his channel or offer to share revenue if the channel is monetized. So just to get this question, this is a good question. What is a proffer? So this is a criminal defendant trying to make a deal with the prosecution in exchange for leniency. So during the proffer, the criminal defendant is supposed to be 100% honest. So we shall see in here, do we think Katie is being 100% honest or not? And there's no guarantee. So as far as we know, Katie did not get a deal because of, you know, so-called telling the truth, giving her proffers, but at least she was somewhat useful at Charlie's trial. So that's my understanding of things. Do you have anything you want to add?
Well, and also it tends to turn out to be kind of a confession and oftentimes it is a confession. It's not necessarily, but it also helps, you know, just tremendously for prosecutors to get information they might otherwise never get by just holding everybody that they think is responsible, so to speak. This way they're talking. And the reason I say that is some people don't think people should get so much leniency, but it's kind of, it's a judgment call for prosecutors all across the US when they do this kind of thing. And I think they know what they're doing, generally speaking, and we'd rather have more answers. Don't we just hate it when we have certain things that still aren't answered in any case?
Yeah, it can be so frustrating. So, I mean, it took her so many years. This was from fall 2022 after she had already been convicted and sentenced to life. But this was kind of like a Hail Mary move where she was still hoping, well, maybe now I'll finally be honest. But as far as we know, she has not gotten a deal. But, you know, I mean, we'll just have to see and give our own comments as we go. Thank you so much, Debt-Free Dad, for your support. Okay, ready to go?
I'm ready when you are. Hey, chat. Okay. Hey, everybody.
Okay.
You know who we all are. I guess we can do that. So we got Pat Sanford, the FBI, Sherry Bennett with TPD, Jason with the state attorney's office, which you and I have met a few times. And yeah, if letting you kind of tell us how we live here is the best way to start. And we'll ask questions. Don't get me wrong. We will ask you stuff. But
yeah, this is what I was afraid of, like just with everything that's been happening and like obviously getting incarcerated, and then it's just I've been like, you know, like with my guard up the whole time, and then like all of a sudden it's like I want to walk into this room and then it's just like me just talk. Like I know you talk. It's like I can't. Everything is
Well, let's start it like this. Okay, how did you meet Charlie? Let's start with that.
Oh, we're really diving in really quick. Yeah, way to break the ice, right? Just before, like, I know, like, obviously, I'm going through 2 trials and everything. Like, would this be all public now? Like this, or is it just for protection?
Eventually, it will be. We're doing this because obviously, with the publicity of the trial and the amount of you guys didn't do this, you guys talked to her before you turned the camera on. We're not gonna. We don't want to have any of those games played. We would rather have everything, recorded and documented, so there isn't. You guys sat down with Katie and told her what she needed to tell you.
Okay.
We didn't do that.
Yeah,
So.
it's like my attorneys will not be here, so this
Correct.
is like.
Right, exactly. So this is my first time sitting down, talk to you.
Yeah.
So we want everything, recorded. So there's no question about, like you did last time, people were making allegations that we fed people and things like that. We're on the up and up. This is not, this way it's been the whole
We're
time.
not here
We're not here
to
to trick you.
berate you. This is different.
It's gotten to this point, basically.
This is your side of the story.
Yeah.
You tell us the truth of what happened.
I
We'll
guess
ask questions when we need to, but
Can I ask? Can I ask a question?
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, I was adjusting my earphone. So can we just clarify, this is Patrick Sanford from the FBI with Katie Magbanua, and then who else is with her? Do we know who's in the room with her? Just to remind everybody. There's 2 voices.
I know Sherry Bennett, definitely. Yeah, so Sanford and Bennett. Was there another guy? If you guys know, please let us know.
I almost thought I picked up on that's why I asked. I thought I picked up on another male voice, and I thought it might have been the Tallahassee PD detective that was working with Isom. I forgot his name.
Was it Hale? Corey Hale?
Corey Hale. And I thought it was interesting how she said, way to break the ice. Like, you can tell I just thought that was interesting. She was comfortable saying that, but she's also doesn't look very comfortable with this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And just in case I miss it, because it's a little hard to hear, I felt like she was giving the impression during this first proffer that she was pulled out of her prison cell and brought down to Tallahassee jail, where she didn't want to be. She was all settled in her new prison, in her new life, and it seemed like she was implying that this took her by surprise. And so I all of that in my head right now, so I just wanted to say that.
Well, on your last point, I totally agree with you. Like, what's this attitude? I saw it especially in part 2, which I hope to react to maybe next week at the rate we're going. But yeah, she just acted like, what are you guys bothering me for? Had this weird kind of attitude. And the officers had to tell her point blank, hey, we got a call from your attorney saying that you wanted to talk with us. So why is she acting weird and as if they're inconveniencing her and she had to be brought up and sit in this new jail cell, So it just, her attitude is very strange. Another thing that you pointed out was that this whole setup seems weird because she's boxed into a corner with that brick wall or concrete wall. So you kind of think that if they wanted her to talk and to be forthcoming, they should have put her in a more kind of comfy position where she doesn't feel intimidated. And they probably also should have just had the female police officer talking with her, because I think with the men, maybe it's more intimidating that way.
Right. That might have helped. And even when she said, way to break the ice, maybe that could have been a clue, like maybe back off. I don't know.
She's going to joke a little bit to diffuse the tension, I guess.
Yeah. She looks here very different to me too. She looks like her blood pressure is really high. Like her face is a lot of color in it, which I'm not used to seeing with her. It could have been just the lighting, but doesn't she almost looks sunburned, but somebody who's if you're really mad or scared or your blood pressure goes up, you can get a super red face too. So,
Mhm.
so I
Yeah.
was just noticing that.
Yeah, hard to tell. Yeah, she doesn't look that like that hot bottle girl where we've seen some old pictures of her with her, fake breast
Oh,
augmentation hanging out. And
oh my gosh.
yeah, I mean,
Not,
she's definitely gained. What do you think she's gained? Like 20, 30 pounds since then? So,
it almost looks like she had a breast reduction too, but I think she's lost some weight. So maybe that's why. Maybe she thought better of the, having those after what she did to get those.
well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the jail or the
Because they were
prison
like,
system will
I
pay
know.
for you to have the
Well,
removal.
yeah, somebody would have had to, or she would have had to have a health reason. Those
Yeah.
have been known to pop.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, let's go ahead. Okay. Thank you for the commentary.
Of course.
Oh, by the way, should I speed this up 1.25 just so we can do it faster?
I'm totally okay with that. I often do that on my channel. So
Yeah.
as
It's
long
too
as the
slow.
chat thinks it's okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I make the decision to speed it up.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
And all the confusion. Yeah, I mean, really, it's best to start with, I think, how you met Charlie would be the best way to start. And then we can probably sequentially work a timeline out from there.
Okay. Well, I was working in Sophie Dental, and then he's like one of the specialists that came in. So then from there, he's, like, we get the phone numbers from the doctors, from what I remember, and then we put it on our cell phone. So that whenever scheduling purposes, we'll, we can contact or text any of the doctors, any of the dentists.
Okay.
So
Then just start texting. And then you start dating, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. How long did that progression take from the texting to the dating?
How did it evolve? Like from
well, this is like all the way from 2013, I believe. So, well, yeah, he was like persistent. He was just persistent about like, and I told him, I was like, I have kids, like I don't really have time. I don't have a babysitter. I don't have like a chance to just go up and about. Like I don't have that type of freedom. Like, so little by little, he was just, trying to, come on, let's hang out. And then, like one day, like I just went over to his house. I remember.
Time frame, I guess, would be late 2013, early 2014.
Yeah, that was 2013.
And you guys, it kind of grew from there, became more of a dating relationship, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. How long would you say you two dated?
Okay. So
like I said, like I've always said that we never had like, oh, he's my boyfriend, I'm his girlfriend type thing.
Okay. Yeah.
sorry. So
Go ahead.
I was interested in this question because they were asking about how Charlie pursued her, because there has been some speculation about whether he kind of targeted her because he knew of her background. And so I was wondering if these questions might have been leading up to that type of thing. And it also helps with the timeline as to when she would later claim that he approached her with the question of whether or not she knew someone who could hurt another person. So we didn't know this, but it's interesting how Charlie really did seem to pursue her specifically.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree, because when you look at her, I mean, I think that even during the trial, Charlie was probably disgusted by her on the stand. Like, I can't believe I dated this person, because she looks much worse now than she did back in, say, 2013. But still, look at her. Back then, she was like this broke single mom with 2 young children. And I'm sure that was also a turnoff that, she's carrying around a diaper bag. I couldn't believe like she was even talking about like, I put the envelope in my diaper bag. From all we've heard about Charlie, he's just like this total player. He talks disparagingly about single moms and women that are too old and women that are useless to him. So why would he want this, this down and out poor single mom?
Yeah.
Who has a thug for the baby daddy,
Right.
with a criminal record, unless it's going to serve his purpose.
Right. And since he knew her and knew the office knew the personnel where she was working, he would have been able to learn about her before approaching her. And yeah, the people were talking about the diaper bag. The diaper bag wasn't, you know, she wasn't using the diaper bag as a diaper bag anymore. She says later, it's literally, it was her overnight bag. Like
the diaper bag became the overnight bag.
yeah, it's
so
like
sexy.
why didn't he buy her a Louis Vuitton overnight bag? Because wouldn't he be embarrassed to be seen with her in that way? I agree. It's very off. It's so sad. I mean, she got terribly used. Her arrogance got the better of her, though. I mean, she allowed him to use her and thought that it was pretty cool what she was doing. So anyway,
yeah, because it was probably the first time she had some guy who was taking her out to nice restaurants and taking her on these nice excursions on his boat, and it was her way out of poverty.
Yeah, probably, or even fun that she felt like she needed to have in her life. And for sure, there is no doubt in my mind that she threw this in Sigfredo's face and bragged about it. There's no doubt in my mind that she was very proud of this. This was not a dignified person who would be dignified about sharing their personal life after she thought she found this gold mine, I guess. It's pretty sad. Pretty sad.
Yeah. And can you imagine how Donna probably really felt about her? You know, if Charlie had tried to bring Katie home to meet his parents, they'd probably be like, what? You know, like, why are you dating this woman? You know, you've scraped the bottom of the barrel. You know,
yeah, unless they knew.
Yeah, they knew like, oh, she can be useful to us because she's connected with these thugs that are going to help us get rid of Dan Markel. So,
well, I wonder if we'll get some more phone calls. They dished, excuse me, they dished on June about their opinions of June. Of course, Charlie did think she was sweet and pretty in his defense, but I wonder if we'll hear any dishing about Magbanua between the two of them. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, well, I think it's telling that based on what little smidgen we've heard so far, Charlie's not talking about Katie. I think, wasn't it his girlfriend Janice who started mentioning Katie, and then Charlie cut her off because, you know, he knows like he's not going to be talking on the recorded line about his feelings about Katie. So
True.
That just shows his guilt. Even more.
That's true. That's true. He did do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go on. So, let's see.
Probably from 2013 to 2014, 15. Because we've stayed friends the whole time. Sorry, it's just, you know, it's just like not, I haven't spoken to anyone, you know what I mean?
And that's what we really, I know we're sitting over here on the side and it's intimidating, like, this is kind of and I'm sure that's not helping the matter.
Yeah.
But just try to talk with us. Just literally just sit there and talk with us.
I mean,
yeah, maybe we can move it on a little closer to the camera for the phone so it's not like straight in your face, I don't know. But just try to block it out and just, let's talk this through. So you guys started dating. What comes to your mind? What I don't want to do is feed it to you and you reiterate it for us.
Well, let's just talk about what problems did he talk to you about? Did he talk to you about his problems and issues and what?
And this is what I was like scared of, like, you know, from the information that I got from the trial, and then obviously, you know, when I go back in my bunk and I'm like trying to think back, like, it's like it's all perception. That's why I was like so irritated and frustrated, because as I'm seeing things being reviewed, you know, I'm thinking back at the time and I'm just like trying to put things together, like, okay, was this happening when this was happening? And then it's like all getting jumbled in my head. Okay. And I don't want to give any.
That's fine. Yeah. You're worried about your timelines. Don't worry about that. We can work timelines out. We can work timelines out with some other information that we have throughout this case. There's a lot you saw. Yes. There's a whole lot of evidence in this case. Yes. If you can give us the events that occurred, we can work out the timeline. So if you remember a conversation Charlie having with you, I'll work on the timeline of when that occurred. Tell us what conversation you had.
I don't want to say the wrong thing either.
We're here.
Like, I
you
want
can't say the wrong thing.
Make sure that I'm, you know, just
the biggest thing is because you keep thinking about everything you saw on trial. Take that out. We want to go by just by your memory. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
We're going by just your memory. Anything in trial, like you say, the timelines, things that we have, that we can see how that fits in and figure that out later. We're going to go from your memory and what you were thinking and your experience, your personal experience with how it progressed in that stance, not taking all the stuff that you saw on trial, all the things that now make you think of it differently. You want to know about how you thought about it at the time that it happened and how it progressed that way in your own experience, not by all the stuff you saw. So that should make it easier to just work on that, and then we can worry about the timeline afterwards. Let's just get through your experience of it when it was happening.
If you were telling us the truth of what you remember, Katie, before any of this nonsense,
Yes.
that's all we're looking for. We will ask the questions to clarify things. You tell us what you remember that led up to this situation.
Okay. So basically, I mean, like what led up to the situation, when I was talking to Chris, I was like, just like things that are popping up as it went. And a particular day that I was thinking about was Halloween in Lincoln Road, when he did mention, but I don't want to quote anything and I don't want to say anything wrong, like I said, and I just remember it, like, that's the thing, it's like as he's saying things, and like y'all know that Charlie talks a lot, so he's saying things and it's just we're going in circles. I'm not like invested into the conversation like how he's thinking of the conversation. I'm just like, like going basically with the flow. So I remember him that he did mention something about, I don't know if his sister was going through it or his sister was having a hard time with somebody. He never mentioned Dan Markel, didn't tell me any names or anything, but that was a particular day, I guess, that I thought back and I didn't even really think about it until like when all of it was like over. And I was like, Chris, I don't know why it's like coming to me now. Like I said, like I blocked off a lot of things. I don't remember things. Like you can see in my second trial, I was foggy with everything. Like,
And those are obstacles we'll all overcome. We got to overcome them just like you do. I understand you testified and you said things, and we'll deal with it. We understand. And Chris will sit down with you, I'm sure, and and that will come. But just like you just did, you had a conversation. It was around Halloween. What's Lincoln Road?
that was in Lincoln Road. This in South Beach. So there's like a Halloween like party where they block off like the whole section.
Lawn party kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's like a bunch of like it's outside. They was host that event, and I remember when in a parking lot or like it was like an outside parking lot, and that was the first time he's mentioned it. And mind you, this was 2013. This was like at the beginning, so I didn't think much of it. Like this is just literally mentioned. Like this is one probably an event that I can only pinpoint it because it was a specific, like a particular event. I'm sorry.
Understood. But you don't specifically when he said you don't remember. He just mentioned saying his sister was going through something.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's end of October, 1st November of 2013. We were still working for Sophie Dental, I'm assuming.
Yes. Okay. Fairly new in Sophie Dental.
Okay. So go from there.
From there, I don't know what happened or like in between, we started hanging out more. I'm pretty sure every single time, like, he'd either not mention about his sister, but maybe just like family issues, but like not specifically like it's always his sister or whatever. Like he never really.
That's really interesting.
So that was like towards the beginning, and I could just kind of remember. I know I spent New Year's with him.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. That's really interesting. She said he didn't mention his sister. She did say he mentioned her, that she was going through something earlier, but here she's saying he was more mentioning family issues. So this kind of shows the whole family was involved. From the beginning. I mean, it was never, oh, my mom and I are really annoyed with my sister's husband or ex-husband. It was the family. And I just, in the initial part, and she continues to do this throughout, she's saying, I just don't want to say the wrong thing because I learned so many things at the trial and I don't want them to affect my memory. Well, you know what? If you have a memory, you have a memory. It's usually not going to be, most people are not so weak-minded. I mean, maybe she could be, but that they're going to completely adapt the prosecutor's theory or what the witnesses were saying and abandon her own memory of the situation. She's acting like she did that, and she's also implying that she didn't ask Charlie any details about these things. Like he brought this up to her, and obviously he wanted to hurt somebody. He knew there were family problems. no curiosity at all? Like, could that be possible? Why? I mean, it's possible, but it also shows like super low intelligence. Like, where's
Yeah, are you that dumb that you can't even ask a question? Like, what exactly is going on with Wendy? Or why is your family so upset? Or what do you mean rough him up? Who is the victim?
all of it? But she doesn't seem like she's that dumb. Like, so it's like she's saying, I didn't ask any questions, but we know she has to have had a little bit more curiosity. It's coming across that way. That's all I'm feeling right now from it.
Yeah, it is so frustrating to hear her try to just act like, oh, my mind has basically shut off that part. I don't remember a lot.
Yeah, you wouldn't
like,
shut that off, especially if your life in prison as a result.
Right. And again, it's kind of like, well, she was the one through her attorney who contacted the prosecutors or the investigators to say she wanted to make a proffer. So why is she acting all just reluctant now? So very shady, so weird.
I wonder if she thought her lawyers were going to be there with her and they would guide her on what to say and what not to say, so she doesn't say too much. I mean, it's not like she could be any worse off. She's already life in prison without parole. So
yeah, it is weird. I was wondering, well, how come her attorneys weren't even with her during this proffer? Because in part 2, the other video, it's mentioned that she did talk with Christopher Dacquisto. But it's like, why aren't they with her? I'm just guessing maybe her family couldn't pay them anymore. So that's why they didn't want to drive up to wherever this was to be there in person. So,
I would imagine this happens to a lot of people in this situation who find themselves in this situation. They're in prison and then they've depleted any finances that they have. They're not going to get a court-appointed lawyer for this kind of thing. They're not going to get free legal advice. So that's why there's a legal library at prisons, right? So they can
so she can get a jailhouse lawyer.
I mean, do something. But yeah, it's just coming across. And I'll grant that she might have some PTSD too, man. She definitely has some stress put on her. Anybody going through the prison system is going to have stress.
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about Xanax, but Tenton Quarantino, great name, says Xanax withdrawal could be an issue, could have affected her memory. Plus, we heard she had COVID twice. So that was an excuse given by Tara Kawas as to why she had foggy memory at her trial back in 2022.
Right. I'm wondering, Tarantino. I'm wondering if that's would affect her memory permanently, though, because with Katie now, this is 2020, late 2023. And she would have stopped taking the Xanax when she was arrested in 2016. So by now she should have had that out of her system. Donna, no, but Katie, she could have brain damage. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of drugs.
Yeah, well, she definitely smoked weed a lot because we heard that in the hardtap calls. And who knows if she was doing harder drugs. It didn't really sound like that, but she was definitely smoking weed, taking Xanax, who knows what. And she's not very smart. So, yeah.
Right.
So that was my guess. She probably didn't have a lawyer because she couldn't afford it. So.
Right.
Because it's funny. Maybe Daryl Brooks can help her out. Oh my gosh. That would be just like hilarious.
If you think this proffer was torturous, have Daryl Brooks as her attorney. Oh my gosh, that would be real torture.
Yeah. Oh gosh, everybody would be going insane. Oh, okay. So thanks for educating us. I don't know much about my drugs here. So another thing about Xanax is it builds up a tolerance. So maybe Donna was really loading up on it. Yeah. That was Charlie's response, right? Take a Xanax, take a Xanax. There's like an old wiretap call from 2016 where he told his mom to take Xanax and drink wine to go to sleep.
Oh my God. Well, and just the November 8th call, right after his arrest in those couple of days, he was saying take Xanax too. And then she even said, yes, I just got off of the portal with my doctor to order more. It's like you just get to order Xanax. I mean, that must be a nice world to live in, because most people can't just order Xanax at will. But yeah, she definitely was on it. Definitely was on it till the very end, till the very arrest, for sure.
Yeah. Katie's background. So from what I've read, Katie came to the United States with her family when she was 7 years old from the Philippines. And it looks like she grew up in this predominantly, Latino area. So that's how she learned to speak Spanish too. And, Spanish is sort of similar to Tagalog. And so she did go to college. From what I heard, she did graduate from the same college that Charlie went to, University of Central Florida. And she had a degree in something like healthcare management. But she got pregnant with the first child, her son, when she was 19 with Sigfredo. And then Sigfredo tagged along with her and was mooching off of her while she was going to college. And then she got pregnant again with the daughter, maybe, I don't know, I think the kids are about like 6 or 7 years apart in age. So I think that's kind of what started her downfall, was meeting Sigfredo and getting pregnant with him with 2 kids. So they had tons of financial problems. And he's like this drug addict loser.
Right. And she was, for the most part, the breadwinner, and probably got tired of it. And by all accounts, she really was in love with him.
Yes, in a weird way. In a weird way, because Lewis said that Katie was really controlling. He was always bossing Sigfredo around, telling him what to do and playing with his emotions and telling him to do SHIT for her. So she seemed to wear the pants because for some weird reason, Sigfredo was so into her.
Yeah, he was so into her, but maybe she wore the pants because he wouldn't. Like, sometimes that happens too.
Yeah, she's definitely Filipino, and she has 2 older brothers who supposedly paid for her legal bills. And one of the brothers did speak with the investigators a while back. I haven't seen the deposition transcript, but he was also caught on wiretaps talking with Katie in Tagalog. So not sure what relevance he might have, but the oldest brother works in IT for a law firm of all places, and he might have had to take care of Katie's kids. I've heard that the kids have been staying with one of the brothers, and he also has his own saga because his ex-wife Samantha embezzled well over $1 million from her CPA employer. So she's in prison too. Yeah. Is that a 5-star family, as Dr. Graber would say? I don't think it's a 5-star family. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You want to go on?
I'm ready.
Okay. Thank you.
And then so like that's already like towards the end of 2013.
Okay. And then what about after that? How did it progress from there?
Like I said, I don't know, like whenever he would mention anything about it, maybe every single time that we just, like we'd hang out. I don't know specific dates, like I said, but all of that's been like a blur to me. So
when you're saying he's mentioned it, is it like you mentioned his frustrations with it, or is he just kind of just talking?
Yeah, he's kind of just like talking, like, like if we're hanging out watching TV or like I can kind of tell, like, his like if his mom is calling and he's, like they're going through like family issues. He never really told me specifically anything, but you kind of like get the phone and
family
walk away,
issues.
Like, oh, that was my mom, like talking to me or whatever. Like she's stressed out, my dad's stressed out, stuff like that. Nothing particular that I can remember.
So fast forward, I guess that's January, early in the year of 2014. So obviously Dan Markel was murdered in July of 2014. As you saw in trial, Garcia and Rivera made a trip up in June. What can you tell us about that?
That, like, I don't even remember. I mean, obviously, like you're just telling me to like remember from what I remember, not from what I remember from trial.
Right.
I learned a lot of things from the trial. That's why it's so hard. And I want to say the right, not to say the right thing, but like remember from how I remembered, my days. But like my days are consumed with like taking care of my kids and just, like me going through it was afraid of, like you guys, all heard all the conversations and everything, like just the back and forth.
What
And-
led to the two of them making that trip to Tallahassee?
Okay. So when I was, this is like the hard part because that's the part that I've never spoken of. And from what I just remember, I don't know the specific day, but I do know that Charlie had given a paper in an envelope, but he stuck it inside. Like I had like a diaper bag that I used to use for Kaylee, but I kind of used that as like a weekender bag, and he put it in there. He's probably been talking about like, oh, like I need somebody to, get beat up or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like from him, something happening to her husband to like obviously murder. That's like two different extremes. And
So you're saying leading up to him, but not whatever he was talking about, want to find somebody to beat him up?
it's like he's, little by little, I think he was feeding stuff in my head that he needed this to be done. But me nonchalantly, like I was like, okay, like I know in hindsight I should have, like I said, that's why I beat myself up a lot because like I'm like, I was stupid. Like I wasn't, but that's not what my mind frame was at that time. So it was kind of hard for me, and that's what kind of like I'm kind of scared of because it's like they gonna understand this because what I was going through a lot like mentally with Sigfredo too was a lot of like fighting, and then so it's like I found comfort in Charlie because obviously he was a good time and he was the one that it's like when I'm with him it wasn't stressful, but it led to my whole life being turned upside down.
Well, let's talk about this real quick. I know you took the stand, like we talked about a while ago. You got on the stand and you said you didn't remember things.
Yeah.
That's in the past.
Yeah.
We're not worried about what you said on the stand. We're starting clean here. This is a new clean break. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I know you're fine. You're fine. Just sit okay.
Relax.
It's okay.
Relax.
Yeah, just listen. It's you're already where you are. Okay. Whatever you tell us now, if you lied about something, if you weren't truthful about something, it doesn't matter at this point. You're not going to get in more trouble for it. Okay. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now's the time to be totally truthful with us. It's just become totally clean, tell the whole truth all the way through from the beginning. Because Charlie didn't just slip a letter in without you talking about Sigfredo and getting to that point. That's what we're talking about. Tell us how you got to that point. I understand you have to remember time frames and things like that, and Charlie may have done this and done that and kind of led you to that. But how did that happen? What kind of conversation did you have about Sigfredo?
Yeah.
With him, and how did it
But
lead
the
up to
whole
that?
time it's like I felt as if Charlie kept planting this seed in my head. Obviously, I don't know if like he knew of Sigfredo, like he probably knew of Sigfredo from what like me venting and saying like like he's giving me a hard time like in that point. But far from like what like I mean like I know that he's probably know that he's gotten in trouble like in the past. But Sigfredo's like since that we've been together, like we like I try to keep him on the narrow and stay away from trouble and like with like family life. Right. So that's what like this is through time that he's probably just been saying things and I'm just like agreeing with it. Like again, I beat myself up for it because it's like I wasn't paying attention to like things. Like I was being nonchalant about it, and just being like, oh, okay, and then like kind of just then when I'm with Sigfredo, I'm like relaying stuff to him, but them really not knowing, like obviously even with conversations, it's like I never said like, oh, I'm talking to Udo, or like with him, he doesn't want to hear that I'm talking with Charlie. Right. But at the same time, it's like they both know who I'm talking about,
Right.
or they know.
So what kind of stuff were you relaying?
Right. Through each other.
Yeah.
That's where it gets a little blurry because that's through time that we're just
right. You don't have to say specifics. Just give us a roundabout summary of what the conversations were about. Because I understand you're not going to remember exactly what you said or exactly what they said, but you know the context of the conversation that you had.
That led up to this.
Everything that led up.
Well, like maybe an example. So he stuffed this envelope in your bag.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know?
I mean, like it had information
but
about.
How did you know what to do with it?
Because he's been like kind of mentioning, like, oh, I need this. I need somebody to take care of this, and I know like obviously I'm going to Sigfredo about it, but then as I'm relating to Sigfredo, I'm not saying like I don't really know specifics. That's why.
So what are you relating to Sigfredo?
Yeah.
You just said, I need somebody to take care of this. I know it's hard to talk about, but we know what you're talking about, and we need you to talk about it. It's I know it's hard to say, what is he saying this is? I need somebody to take care of this. What is this?
Oh, the problem with Wendy's, I mean, like that's, I don't think he ever mentioned about her husband or whatever, but just somebody that's been like,
I'm fine with you. You're fine with that. That you didn't know that Dan Markel was Wendy's husband.
yes.
Fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
What did he tell you? What did he say?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, move on. We're good with that. Yes, I understand that they didn't have the same last name. So I better watch you.
So what was he telling you exactly?
That he needed somebody to go up to. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
We can understand if you're summarizing.
Right.
You're summarizing. We don't expect you to remember exact conversations, but you know the context, which is the actual meat of what the conversation was about. That's what we need from you. Like that's
What did he mean? What did he say to you, basically? Just in general.
that he needed somebody to get hurt, but like not to get to that point. From my understanding, was not to get killed, but to maybe like I don't know, if like rough up or beat up or whatever.
Okay.
At that point.
Okay.
So I think that's what I'm saying. Like I just little by little, maybe he's like feeding things in my head, but I can't remember those specifics. And
okay. So then you're relaying now to Sigfredo. So what are you relaying to Sigfredo? And I know you're not saying Charlie wants me. You're just talking to Sigfredo about a friend that has this problem. What's the problem you're telling Sigfredo?
just that.
What
That
is
it's like
that?
somebody like
Yeah, so this chunk bothers me more from the investigator's standpoint because, first of all, about 45 seconds or 60 seconds back, she started to say about the problem with, and he interrupted her.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It's like, why does he keep like talking over her, and then all of them are talking at once as if they're ganging up on her? That's not giving her a good feeling of comfort.
Not only that, but like that it like then ask what about then she says he wanted somebody to be hurt. It needed to happen because that would have been much stronger for her to say the problem with their family or the problem they were having in their family, which is what she was going to say before she got cut off. And then the other thing that kills me here is she started crying, and that's a great time for investigators to really take the opportunity to let them open up and give her a chance, but they just kept rolling on even though she was crying. I'm just saying they're going to get a lot more information. So this is a little bit frustrating, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could have paused to get her some tissue, ask her if she needed some water, because you really got to just kind of like calm down the person to get them to build some trust after all these years where they're antagonistic against each other. They need to act more. They're like, okay, we're sort of like your friends now. We're on your side. We're trying to help you.
We're trying to get the truth. And they also, honestly, I would have said, handed her the tissue and said, what is it that made you cry just now? Because I would love to know what is it that caused that. Mm-hmm. It may be she doesn't want to tell on Charlie. It may be like 1,000 other reasons, but she cried. Like that was so obvious. And I would have wanted them to ask, be sympathetic and like you say, hand her the tissues and
give her some time instead of just jumping on her all at once with more questions. People just like interrupting each other.
Yeah. And then when she started to say the problem with, and then interrupted her. I mean, those two things together, I feel like was a really missed opportunity. So I can't fill in the blanks. Like, why did she start crying right there? But that one's really gets to me. That one really, caught my attention.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So Tennis Girl wants to know, why do we think she waited to admit anything, protected Sigfredo as BS? Well, I think the first, when Sigfredo's trial was still about to happen, that made sense that she didn't want to roll on him because telling the truth meant implicating her baby daddy, who was possibly facing the death penalty. But then later, I think she just had too much confidence based on, what her attorneys were telling her, the fact that it was a hung jury the first time. So she probably just thought she had a good chance of being found not guilty and going totally free without having to admit anything. Plus, she was probably hoping she was going to get more money and gifts from Charlie and his family.
Mhm.
So that's my guess. What about
Yeah.
you, Dawn?
I mean, it's anyone's guess. My underlying feeling throughout is that she still has some benefits coming in from the Adelsons for her children, mostly for her children's future. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that because, I've mentioned this before, but her second brother did get foreclosed on a couple of times or got sued
Yeah.
by his HOAs. So I'm thinking that the Adelsons are at least not giving that brother money, because then why would he be on the verge of losing his homes?
Well, maybe a trust for when they're adults, and that would hold her silence until they were adults too. I mean, there could be a lot of ways for them to.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, they're definitely good
I
at
guess.
hiding
Yeah.
the money trail, hide the money trail, start trusts, use intermediaries. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just a guess.
yeah. Let's see. Oh, and somebody, thank you so much for your support. Love is a 4-letter word. She says she's looking forward to the show with Brother Counsel. Yeah, I was so happy that he responded to me, because his videos just started showing up on YouTube as a suggestion. I was like, who is this guy talking about the Markel case? And he's so articulate, and he seems like he has a fun personality. He sort of seems like a law professor type. And but I do know, some people in the comments seemed like they were getting a little perturbed with him about details of the case, or that it seemed like he was trying too hard to be neutral and towards pro-Wendy even. But we can definitely ask him questions when he comes on tomorrow, 3 p.m.
Yes. I love him. I've been watching. Somebody recommended him to me when he first started coming on. I subscribed right away, and I sent him an email. I said, he's doing a great job. I like hearing both sides of things. I don't think that just hearing two sides of something makes you on the other team. Like, for example, I like to use this since it's football season right now. Like every team that's going to play a different team each Sunday, they're going to study that team. They're going to study what they're doing. And if you're just going to turn a blind eye to what your competition is, so to speak, and that's what this is, it's adversarial in court. If you're not going to try to understand what other people might be thinking, you're really doing yourself a disservice as a prosecutor. And it's interesting to see both sides, is because as a potential juror, you're supposed to be able to be. Now, I think it's fun.
And it's all good to get the dialogue going, because he might be saying something where on our live tomorrow, people can challenge him and just throw in something in the chat, and we'll have him answer it, or tell him, hey, but what about this fact? Maybe you didn't know about this, or whatever.
Right.
It's cool to see another attorney who is trying to cover the Markel case and, just give his own opinions on things. Because I liked all the videos I've seen, but I really liked when he explained perjury and why it's probably unlikely that Wendy's going to be charged with perjury, because he even did some research on Florida law, even though he practices in Michigan, I think. So that's really good. He's such a good explainer.
Yeah, he's good. And you can just tell it just seems like he's earnest, and just wants to be straight about it. No drama. I like it.
Yeah. I even told him, I was like, I feel like you and Dan Markel could have been great friends, because he has that professor type of personality where he's like energetic, and he just like turns on his camera and starts talking for like 25 minutes straight. So I'm very, very envious of that ability. So but to answer Cliff's question, is there another proffer that hasn't been released? He told me there is nothing else. So that's what's sad. It's like Katie had this chance to like tell all, but all she gives is this one video plus the second video, which I'll probably react to next week or something, but it is very unsatisfying. but it was still good enough to be useful at Charlie's trial, though. So that part,
Yeah, she did have a
grateful
couple useful bits of information. I'm glad you invited me to do this, because I was going to do it on my channel, thinking about it, and like, I don't want to do it, but it's just so much better to do it with you in particular, because boy, it's been a long year, and what a crazy couple of months it's been with all of this stuff, in a way. It's compared to everything else that's happening, it was kind of a downer in a way, but in light of things, it's still progress. It still represented some progress.
Yeah, Charlie's conviction was a big check mark off the prosecutor's list of things to do. Now on to Donna. Yeah. So is Katie's appeal going to be heard anytime soon? No, I doubt it, because they just recently had some order striking her attorney's appendix to her appeal brief because it didn't conform to whatever the rules of appellate procedure, I think. That's what I heard. Yeah, so who knows? I mean, we might not hear a decision on that until later 2024. I'm just guessing. Yeah. So I'm not sure if they would have oral arguments or not. So we can ask James, Mentour Lawyer, about that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So ready to go on?
I'm ready.
Okay. We're almost at like 52 minutes here. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I know, I understand what you're trying to say.
Like not.
Right, we know what you're trying to say, but we need you to say it. We can't say it.
Yeah, here's where I think you are. It's hard for you to say.
Right.
It's more hard for you to say than less so you don't know what to say. I think this is where this agreement that's signed into, this is where you have to clear your conscience. This is where you just say what you're trying to say. Get it out. We can talk about it. We're going to talk to Chris about this. Obviously, there's a lot of conversations to be had after this meeting that we're having
A
today.
lot of conversation.
Not with you. Not with you. No.
Between the prosecutors.
No, between us, and there's just a lot that has to go on after this. So just say it. Just come out with what you're talking. So Charlie's giving you something, and you're giving Garcia something. What is it?
That's the agreement. What was Charlie going to do?
Yeah, something needed to be taken care of for him.
And
For
what was that?
for Dan Markel.
Okay. And what was Charlie getting in return? Was he doing anything in return? What was he willing to do?
Well, yeah, like he would have, like the money wise, obviously, like, like they would be, like Charlie's like, oh, they're going to be taken care of. That they're going to be taken care of.
Did he ever give you a number? What's the number?
No, he didn't give me the number. He didn't give me a specific number for it.
He said, go do this and I'll take care of you. He didn't say how much or anything.
No, not to me. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like now, like, you know how you guys were talking about like the $100,000 or whatever, like he never said that amount to me. Like, I just know that they're going to be taken care of. Like he was assuring me that they're going to be taken care of. Obviously, that's nothing to do, like that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't have those facts for.
How did he know who was going to take care of it, or who he needed to take care of it?
I mean, I figured he knew that I was like going to go to somebody that I trusted and relay that to Sigfredo.
Okay. So he knew.
I just don't. That's what I don't know that if he knew Sigfredo like that.
Did you tell him it was Sigfredo though?
No, I never mentioned that it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
But you told him you would have to take care of it. You just tell him what it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're jumping around.
No, and
So
Well, the problem is
I just don't want to go roundabout, like.
we're trying to get directly to it, and that's what and you can help us with that as well. Just say it. Sometimes just let it go. The envelope that was in the back. What was it?
I never looked at it. He told me, do not touch it, do not open it. That he had, he would, as time went, like, I think back about the things that he's saying, and then he's like, oh, like, I never keep money in my house. Like, why is he telling me that? Like, now in my head, I'm like, okay, is he telling me that so that he won't get robbed? Like, he won't turn around and he would, well, yeah, hindsight, like I'm saying, like, I figured this out later on. He did have that safe in his house, but he'd always be like, well, I don't keep money in that, or, I never saw him, like he's opened it before, but I've never like looked inside and see anything inside. When he on that paper, which I felt like I had all the information.
Hold on a sec.
And obviously, I had given that to Sigfredo, but when I gave it to Sigfredo, like I never like it was in my bag, and then I had told Sigfredo like, oh, like.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to mark down the time there, but she said she was stumbling over, like, I didn't look inside. I didn't see anything inside. I think they could have stopped her and slowed her down right there she looked
Mhm.
inside, you know what I mean? And she was stumbling over it right there. She was stumbling over it. This is where a good interviewer is going to be like, so you didn't see it or you didn't look? Which
Yeah, are you sure you didn't even look? Like, wouldn't you be curious about what's there?
Yeah, or even just wait, what did you just say? You didn't look or you didn't, and just slow her down and then see where she kind of falls. I think she just needs a little help. Like, she's just bad. She's so stressed, and I think she needs some help. They could have gotten more out of her. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be this about criticizing the officers. Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you. Well, this is why we're doing YouTube, because we just want to give our opinions. In the wise words of Ryan Fitzpatrick, that's free speech, and that's what all the other idiots do online. So, so that's why we're giving our Monday morning quarterbacking. But you're so right. These investigators are just barreling over her and talking over her. And I would have wanted to back up. It's like, okay, suddenly he just gives you an envelope with papers. Like, let's back up a little bit. Like, wasn't there some talk about how much money he was going to be paying or what you would be getting out of it? There's got to have been some talk about the money first.
Right. And if they were afraid of leading her in any way, they could have just said, okay, let's slow down again. Did you just say you had a month, an envelope with blah, blah, blah? And she would have had to either repeat that, just slow her down. And then, and weren't you a little more curious? Now, I will say, I noted down here, I mentioned about her curiosity, but she uses the word nonchalant a lot to describe things, but especially herself. And she describes herself as nonchalant. And there was even a time when I thought possibly, just possibly, when Luis heard Sigfredo say, yeah, I know, when Sigfredo said it was done. Yeah, I know. That sounds like something Katie would say, even though she didn't know what she was talking, like just blowing people off. Like, yeah, I know. I mean, obviously, if he was calling her and he was told not to call her till it was done, the call told her, right? So, but her way of, yeah, I know. She acts like she knows a lot. She's nonchalant, non-committal, lacks curiosity. I just feel like that's kind of her facade. That's her MO. But I think that they could have definitely slowed her down a little bit, and because right there she said two different things about what was in the bag, what she looked at. Did she look or did she see?
Also, it's like she completely jumped over a whole set of occurrences that must have taken place. Like, what did you tell Sigfredo? I mean, she just completely jumped into, then he gave me the envelope and told me not to look at it. It's like, well, did you talk? Didn't you have a talk with Sigfredo? And what did you and Sigfredo discuss first? And how did you have to persuade Sigfredo to do this? Did Sigfredo ask for some details? And was there more back and forth? It just seems like a huge chunk of information is missing so far. So, yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. Shall we go on?
However long you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you're on a time limit, but
nope, I'm good.
Okay. Let's go.
The papers there, and he never showed it to me. He took it and then he left.
And this would have been prior to the trip they made up in June.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I don't know when he had given me that paper.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Did Sigfredo ever tell you what was written on it?
No. And that's like the information that I wish I had, because that's why I was
fine.
so
Don't make it
hesitant
up.
to even.
Don't make it up. Don't fill in a gap that you don't know the answer to.
I just want to confirm one thing on this. So you told Charlie you had to take care of it. So Charlie didn't know you were going to Sigfredo, but he probably assumed is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, but you didn't tell Sigfredo it's from Charlie, and you didn't tell Charlie you're going to Sigfredo. You just told him that you would have to take care of it.
Yes. Yeah.
I understood what you were saying.
Yes.
So obviously you told him that you had somebody to do this. He wouldn't just give it to you and say, hey, just
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, through time, he keeps telling me there's something needed to get taken care of. Obviously, he's never said that somebody needed to get killed or anything. He never said that.
Okay.
But it's like, okay, through time, he's like feeding to me, this needs to be taken care of, this needs to be taken care of. And then one night that I had stepped over there, he had put that in my purse, like, do not open it, Katie, like, do not touch it. Even when I put it inside in the envelope, like, he's telling me things that he did, you know, like, I used gloves, I didn't print it in my computer, like, he's telling me, he's like forewarning me, like, don't even think, like, I guess he didn't think that, you know, like, he didn't want me to, like, obviously blackmail him or something maybe after, or.
At what point did you tell him you had somebody that could take care of this? If he's feeding you this information for him to print this out and take this step, at some point you had to tell him you had someone to take care of it.
What did you tell him to do?
That was like going back again that day that he had asked me in Halloween in the parking lot. I was like, oh, okay. You know, obviously the first thing in my head was like, oh, if somebody need to get beat up forever, like, you know, like that's money for him.
So Halloween is when you told him.
The one that
How did you tell him that you had somebody? When you said Halloween, is that when you told him that you had somebody that could do it, or?
to Charlie, yes. Yeah, I probably suggested, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know somebody.
Okay, so you're saying that was at the Halloween thing?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
It's
all the way
the
back in
age just
October.
stuck, yeah, it's stuck on to
Okay,
me.
that's what I wanted, that's what I was trying to get clarification.
So you told him you had somebody, you didn't tell him to,
Yes,
and you just left it at that.
yes.
And you didn't ask him how much he could pay, how he could take care of, any of that.
He just always, he's always told me is like, oh, they'll be taken care of. Didn't give me an amount, didn't tell me.
So what did you
You
tell
know.
Sigfredo to get him to do it?
Like I said, I don't know how I told Sigfredo, probably told him like, hey, like, you know, you can make some type of money if you take care of this for somebody else. He's like, okay.
But you didn't tell him how much?
I didn't know.
Or
I
did
really
you give
didn't
an
know.
amount or anything?
No, he
You
just
trusted
always
he would pay
said,
you.
yeah, I guess, stupidly, yeah. I figured
And Sigfredo
they
trusted
can
you
like,
enough.
yeah, like it's, like I said, like you got, like you know, I'm the middle person, obviously I see everything now, like, yeah, like it was going through me, but I know. And
It's fine.
You look back now and you feel,
I'm like,
You feel used, like,
that's what I told Tara. I was like, listen, like, I was manipulated, I was used, I was, you know, and it's like, and I feel stupid because it's like, you guys are even like, I know, like, even through trial, like, you guys, it's like, yeah, and I'm being truthful, and that, like, when I see everything, it's like, of course, everybody's just looking at me like I'm part of this whole thing. And it's hard for me to, like, it took time, like, you guys didn't know what I was going through in jail, you didn't know, even with family-wise, you know, you met my brother, like, it's, how do you just go about it? Like, okay, I had this whole part in this whole situation, like even conversations with like, that's why I was upset too with the Dolce Vita, because it's, once you see it in a different way, you're just, and then you sit back and you're like, I don't remember, like a lot of the things, my brain has literally, and I wish like I wish you guys could just put something in my head and just extract all this information, but I can't time frame, which I know you guys can guide me with, but it's like, don't know what was said, I don't know how we went about, I just know like what, you know, certain things, and then from there, like I'll probably get back in the dorm, and then, I mean, like when I was in county, and I'll be like, oh my God, this happened, or this happened, and then after that, it's like I push it away, I've suppressed so much of like the whole situation, and I don't want to waste anybody's time, I know we got into this
you're
point,
not wasting our time at all.
I want an end to this already, like.
Well, this is a way to the end, but like we said, you gotta be totally honest with us.
Yeah.
You gotta be truthful. I mean, that's all we're asking you to do. To the best of your memory, give us everything you can. You know, I know it's hard to talk about. I know you don't want to admit it.
But
There's
there's
little things
Some of
you
it's
do.
embarrassing.
it's not that, it's just my brain, like I don't know how to explain, my brain has like blocked a lot of things. So I like even like, and then I second guess myself, and I thought like the last thing I want is obviously this, I already know how this goes, and I do not want to say something that did not happen or did not occur, and that's what I'm afraid of. I don't.
Well, that's what we explained to you. We don't expect you to remember exact verbatim conversation, word for word what you said or what someone
Of course,
said, but you know the context of the conversation, which is like what this conversation was about.
Yeah.
You know what the conversation was about with you and Charlie. You know what the trick or treat thing, the Halloween thing that's when you gave Charlie after he's been venting to you and venting to you. You gave him the thumbs up, like, yes, I got someone who can take care
Well,
of this.
that's the first time that he's like kind of mentioned something.
He mentioned you trying to get it taken care of.
Yeah.
But he had been telling you and feeding you up to that about how he's frustrated with his sister's stuff.
Well, yeah, like little bits and pieces
Right.
like that, and then that was like something that stuck out, and then from there on, all that time frame, that's why I just don't even know like what happened in between. But like I said, I was living my life as a mother, taking care of my kids.
Right.
Like, yeah, I should have paid attention. You know, I don't think I beat myself up every day thinking about like I should have paid attention. I should have taken this seriously. But in my head at that time, it wasn't like a contract.
You're thinking
You know,
someone's
like,
gonna get beat up.
yes, like somebody to get hurt. Obviously, that's like one thing that okay, you know, Sigfredo like would do. I mean, like we were financially like not like he was doing his own thing, and God knows what. Like I don't know. I don't even know why I went to him. I don't even know why this whole thing like literally like occurred.
Well, let me ask you
It
this.
just snowballed.
So you know it, and obviously the trial came out, and it was mentioned, I don't know how many times. Charlie made a comment to several people throughout the years that, tried hiring a hitman, but TV was cheaper.
Yeah.
Had he ever made a comment like that to you?
Has he mentioned that?
Yeah.
About the, I don't,
To you specifically? Not that you remember from trial, but did you and he ever have a conversation like that?
about hiring somebody?
Yeah.
Like, maybe he's joked about it? Yeah. I'm
Do you
pretty sure,
remember,
yeah,
like,
like,
he
he's
did?
joked about it, but it's like, we're not even, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's joked about it, about
Hiring a hitman?
yeah. He's very free with what he says, and I never take, sometimes, like I said, like, I literally even block it off.
Okay, so they made a trip up here in June.
Yeah.
Did you all receive any money from Charlie for that trip?
For when they,
Like to help pay for the rental car or anything?
I've had, I'm trying to think. Okay, so Sigfredo got that paper. Like I said, he's never told me anything about it. Obviously, there has to have been information in there. Obviously, either one of them don't want me to know. And I don't want to know. I didn't want to know it. So.
And you told Sigfredo it was in there to get it.
Yeah, to get it, like, just get it off the bag. Like, I think he came over and then he probably went to the apartment, saw the kids, and I was like, oh, I have a big three in the bag. And then I just remember him stuffing it in his shorts and then walking out. Okay. And we never spoke about it again. Like, I never asked him, like, oh, what was on that or whatever, nothing. Like, we didn't have a conversation about it. So, and then, like, I don't know when Sigfredo, like, leaves. I don't know, like, what his, we'd be good, and then I don't know what's going on then. And I don't want to know what's going on with him, so I kind of, like, block that out, too. Because whenever I was with Charlie, then obviously, and just like that, too, like, with conversations, it's not like I'm there, like, planning things or whatever. It's just whenever I'm not with one, I'm talking to the other. It's not nothing specific or anything that has to do with what happened. It's just, I don't talk to each other if, like, they're right next to me.
Right.
So obviously you guys weren't financially stable.
Yeah.
Renting a car to drive to Tallahassee.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I think it's, that Charlie has given me money, like, I probably told him, like, hey, I need some money so that, like, and I would always just say, like, these people or whatever, but thinking about it, like, he knew it was, Sigfredo the whole time. So, yeah, probably, like, asking for, like,
So Charlie would give you all the money to pay for the rental car?
Yeah, like, he gives it to me and then I give it to Sigfredo, I guess, like, so that he can go about wherever he needed to go. But I didn't know about the Tallahassee, like, even, like,
Yeah.
anything with
You didn't know where they were going. You just knew that the problem that Charlie had, they were going to handle and they needed money to deal with it.
How did you know about the rental car? What did Sigfredo say to you about getting a rental car? How did you know it wasn't?
I mean, he has a
Miami. How'd you know the problem wasn't in Miami then? How'd you know he needed a rental car?
that he had to go travel somewhere.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know, like, when I didn't know anything about, like, the Tallahassee thing, but I guess he had to go somewhere. It wasn't going to be local.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
I
come
just
to you
didn't
and
know
tell you,
where.
I need money for this, and then
Right. Say, I need money for a car. I need you to get money from.
how did you know to go to Charlie and ask for the money that he needed? That's what he's trying to get.
Well, because from the whole thing with the paper, but he didn't tell me what was on it or whatever. But I figured, like, he needed to scope someplace else. So if he's gonna go somewhere, then he needs a car.
So here,
To do
all
that.
right. You're trying to answer for Garcia. Answer for you. Garcia came to you and asked for, did he come to you and ask for money? Did he come to you and say, hey, I need money? Hey, what Garcia was doing is just totally different.
Yeah.
How did it go from you back to Charlie, back to Garcia? How did that?
I mean, I would assume that that's what Sigfredo told me. He's like telling me, like, oh, I need money, like, to go scope this place out. So he needed, like, a vehicle.
Do you remember having conversations with Garcia about that type of stuff? That, hey, I need money for a rental car. Do you remember having those conversations with him?
That he needed money, yeah, for rental, I guess so, yeah. And then I would just relay it back to, like, Charlie, like, I need money so that they,
Okay.
yeah.
That's all I was asking.
Yeah.
How do you know that you need money?
I know it sounds like such a simple thing, but it's like, I guess I'm just.
You're trying to get through
my
your
brain.
memory.
Yeah.
It could have been in Miami, right?
I guess I mean, I never assumed that it was gonna be, and maybe that was just my assumption, that it wasn't anywhere local.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he's needing money, like, what do you need money for? I'm not gonna ask you specifics. Okay, you need to get a car, you need, a place to stay, you need to rent somewhere.
So
I
I was
just-
asking you questions, just trying to refresh your memory so
Yes.
you can bring up
Yes, sir.
details
Yeah.
about what you remember, okay? So we're not trying to trick you or get you off track.
And
We're
I
just
get
trying to refresh
that,
your memory.
I'm trying to recall back too, of, like, how it even, like, occurred, or what was happening.
Okay, so at what point, how did Charlie get the money to you? Did he just meet you and give you
And I feel like I was hanging out with him, so it was like, yeah, he gave you like $100, yeah, like, and obviously he knew what it was for. Like, not like, I'm just like, I didn't think about it. Like, you know, like I wasn't there like, oh, okay, like this is for this and that. Like that wasn't, I'm just, okay, like I was just okay with it. I was just doing it. You know, okay, you need the money, okay, I don't wanna know what for, I don't know, like obviously now I know the rental and all that stuff, but it's like, I didn't know. Like, I got,
Getting the money.
yeah, like,
Care Charlie's
do
problem.
whatever you need to do.
Okay, people want us to give commentary, and as
Okay. Oh God, I've
you
been
probably
taking
saw
some notes.
Cliff's comment. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay,
See, I
so
didn't
what
see
are your
Cliff.
impressions now?
Oh, okay, I didn't see Cliff. Okay, so I'll go back. I'll go most recent first. So first of all, yeah, I do wish the investigators would slow down a little bit. They're saying, how did you know he needed money for a rental car? And then jumping to the conclusion that this crime was going to be out of town. They could have wanted a rental car for a local crime. People do that all the time. So
Yeah.
it was very, just at the end, just a couple seconds ago, where they added in, and she added in, and a place to stay. And they didn't catch it. They didn't stop her. Oh, so you did know they needed a rental car and a place to stay. So you did know it was out of town. Okay. Because up until that point, it was like, well, but she said, and a place to stay. And they just like let it go. That bothers me.
Yeah, it probably would have gone a lot better and smoother if they just had one investigator talking with her instead of like 2 or 3 people all ganging up on her.
Yeah, I think I missed my calling in life. I should be doing that.
Yeah, we should be doing it. We'll do a better job.
Better listening skills. Yeah. So, and then she also mentioned that, and they didn't stop at this either, and it was the first time I heard it, and I listened to this a couple times. Katie said he, meaning Charlie, didn't want me to blackmail him. Maybe that's why he didn't give me the more information. I was like, did she come up with that on her own? Did he tell you? I mean, I would have asked, oh, did he mention that to you? Is that what he was keeping you clear, but he was also keeping himself safe from you? Did he mention the word blackmail? I mean, good God. That was like glaring. And they just let that one go. And maybe that's the style. I mean, this isn't a deposition or whatever. They don't want to lead them too much, but I would just think that they could have stopped at that point. Did you catch that when she said that?
Yeah. And also with her acting like she didn't even know they were going to Tallahassee. I mean, it does it strains her credibility, like that she didn't even ask more questions to Charlie. And why would she be getting paid? Why would they be getting paid such a huge amount of money if it were just for Sigfredo to go and beat up somebody? That didn't make any sense either, which makes me wonder, Katie's probably not telling the full truth here. So
she had to know, because if this is a big family problem, how would beating somebody up solve a problem anyway?
Yeah, like Dan's going to be like, okay, stop beating on me. I'm going to let Wendy move away now.
Yeah, so eliminating the problem meant eliminating Dan, not hurting him. Yeah.
Yeah. And you would think that Sigfredo would also be wanting to know more details through Katie. Also, just one more thing is that Lewis specifically said that Katie had given Sigfredo $5,000 for the first trip, to help them pay for the expenses. And she got that from, I guess, the Adelsons or Charlie.
Yeah.
Or the lady. I can't remember exactly what Lewis said, but they did get a significant amount of cash the first time. And I think there was also another $2,000 that Sigfredo got from Katie later, maybe for the second trip. I'm not 100% sure.
Yes.
Isn't that weird that Katie doesn't even seem to remember any of this cash going back and forth?
Especially when she needed cash so badly.
Yeah.
Like, she's a struggling mom. It's not like, she's got all, she's wealthy and it's just cash flying around. This is like cash to her. You kind of wonder, where's my piece of it? What's happening here? The other thing I thought that it was earlier before we broke, right after we broke for the last conversation, for the last little input we did. Charlie, it seemed to me, she's implying that Charlie and Sigfredo had to have communicated for some of this stuff to happen. Now, is she doing that to blame it, to get herself out of trouble? I mean, I think that's stupid because she's her lawyers have clearly not explained to her that she's a convicted murderer. That's it. So you're not going to get out of trouble for what you say here. So I'm hoping that it's because she's actually saying or implying, and again, I think they missed their opportunity to talk to her about it, that Charlie and Sigfredo actually were in communication with one another. She did seem to say something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's what we'll never know because Sigfredo won't talk.
So far, I mean,
so
you
far.
gotta wonder, and he did come down, so we don't know what he did or didn't say when he was in Tallahassee, and just because they sent Katie back to prison, that doesn't mean they can't bring her back down again, right? And
Yeah, they could still, I mean, I'm guessing that the
yeah,
prosecutors could set up some sort of meeting again with Katie or, try to see if Sigfredo is willing to talk to them at this
right.
late hour, if he remembers anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to answer LJ, I just feel like maybe maybe Tara Kawas was disgusted with Katie because Katie sure had Tara Kawas convinced that she was innocent to the point where Kawas was defending her left and right in the media as if this is a huge travesty of injustice or travesty of justice. And, this poor innocent lady who's a mom of 2 kids is being railroaded by the system. And now Katie wants to turn around and be like, haha, I lied to you guys for the last whatever 8 years or however many years they've been representing her. So I mean, my guess is that it was probably financial because Katie's family probably couldn't afford to keep paying Katie's attorneys anymore. So they're just like, okay, whatever you want to do now, our role is over with. So
Right.
that could be why
Right.
she had no attorney there anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So
And she did start crying, not in the same way, but I don't know if anyone noticed. I wrote down here that she was crying again. I could actually see her tears. I didn't notice exactly. I'm going to go back and look at the 2 times that she started crying. I might make a little short out of those because it's interesting. Why does she cry at those 2? Because crying is a big deal,
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
something's going on.
As we discussed, when she starts crying, that could have been another point where the investigators could have gotten on her side, built up more rapport and trust by acting like they care, like, oh, we're sorry you're getting emotional. Do you want some tissues? Do you want to take a break? Do you need to get some water? Instead of just like trapping her in that little corner. Yeah, it's just the optics of it doesn't look good.
Yeah, it really isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Lewis said Katie told Garcia she would take him back if. Okay. Yeah. Did
That's
he?
true.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was something I've never said too much about, but I've always gotten the impression it was like Charlie and Sigfredo were like negotiating for Katie, like as she's a property. You know what I mean? If he did this, Charlie would back off, leave his mitts off of Katie. I got that impression, and it just seems so just distasteful.
Well, that was Katie's attorney's tactic at her trial, was to say that, hey, this was done behind her back because Sigfredo and Charlie, were fighting over Katie. And so Sigfredo did this if Charlie would stay away.
I feel like Katie knew about it and went along with it. It's just, which makes it worse. But yeah, that was what he said. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just on top of everything else about this case and everything else that was happening. We've got this bar, what do you call what bar girl, whatever her job
Bottle
was.
girl.
Bottle girl.
Yeah, like showing off the liquor and serving it. Yeah.
And the fake boobs and then she's being traded basically as chattel between these two men.
Well, Charlie definitely used her. So, you would think that she'd be a little bit more wise now that Charlie totally used her and he almost got away with it.
Yeah.
So,
Too late for her now, though.
Mhm. Yeah. So the $5,000. Yeah. I mean, again, you would think that Katie would remember that because $5,000 in cash is a big amount,
Right.
because I guess Sigfredo wanted to make sure that the family or the lady or whoever it was really going to pay him. Plus, they did need money up front to, pay for gas, pay for a hotel.
Did
pay
you
for
ever
food.
wonder why they got 5,000 the first trip and only 2,000 for the second trip? And I just have a funny thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, because they blew so much money on drugs, they're like, we're not giving you more money to blow on drugs. We need you to be straight, do the job, and you'll get the rest of the money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because the Adelsons probably were mad. Like, look, we already gave you $5,000 and you didn't kill him off the first time, so you better get this job done the second trip. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So Katie was not ready for the proffer. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. If she had counsel with her, then it probably would have gone a lot more smoothly and streamlined without her wasting people's time and the people talking over her and just veering off into different topics. Yeah. No, she didn't have a master's degree. Yeah, she had a college bachelor's degree. Yeah.
Correct.
Hey, Harley. Hi, everybody. Yeah, they assumed that her attorneys had her ready. Obviously not. Yeah, so that would explain why Sanford got so frustrated that he left the room. Yeah.
Right.
So I wish Mentour Lawyer would go and have a chat with Garcia. I don't know. Does he want to do that? That would be interesting if he's.
Yes, he
even
mentioned
able
it.
to do
Yeah,
that.
that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So Katie got a court-appointed attorney to help her with the appeal, but I think the appeal is pretty much a goner. Yeah, she did it for money.
Right, just for the appeal, though, they can't help her if she's offering a proffer. She's already convicted, so.
Yeah. Who paid Tara? Well, Katie said in part 2 that the Adelsons offered to pay for her attorney's fees. Now, isn't that very suspicious? Why would they offer to pay her attorney's fees if they had nothing to do with this? But yeah, but she said that her family paid for her attorneys.
Right, because it's not like she was, Erica, a longtime employee of the office that they were just trying to help out. She never even worked for them, and she wasn't dating Charlie very long. There was no reason for them to offer attorney's fee except for the obvious.
Yeah.
Surprise. Yeah.
Exactly, to just try to manipulate her through their financial control. Yeah. So but see, I don't think she has the right to get a court-appointed attorney to make a proffer because her case is already over in terms of the trial, the conviction, the sentence. So
That's
I'm
my
guessing,
understanding.
yeah. So unless her brothers wanted to shell out more money, then she wasn't going to get those attorneys to show up. So yeah, Tara is removing the staples from her retainer. Okay. She used
And I don't
Sigfredo.
think that it's very common when somebody is privately paying for an attorney for a judge to come in and say, no, you can't have that attorney. That would be a remarkable. In fact, that's what's happening in Delphi, and it's going to the Supreme Court. It's not something that the judge is going to do, is just appoint a different attorney against the will of the defendant. If that's what she's saying, that would be very highly unusual, exceptional.
Yeah. Well, not sure what the cops or Katie is trying to get. Yeah, because this dynamic seems very bizarre, because if she's trying to make a proffer, she should be the one that is forthcoming and say, let me tell you the whole truth. This is what I got to say. But instead, she's just like sitting there, like she doesn't really want to be there and she can't remember anything. And, just like skipping over huge chunks of information that you would think she would have as she's trying to make a proffer. Yeah. So her goal was to try to potentially get a deal where she could get a lesser sentence in exchange for finally telling the whole truth about what happened with Dan Markel's murder. And the cops are trying to get info from her too, but it's like pulling teeth.
They're
Yeah.
not trying very hard. Is it possible that her attorneys set up this meeting and proffer, but the detectives really knew that what she would have is very limited and they were just doing lip service? I mean,
No, I don't think the investigators had any clue what she was going to say.
you know,
Yeah. So
it's just odd. It just came off so weird, like on both sides, from both
Mhm.
sides.
Yeah, especially after we've seen that videotape of Lewis's proffer.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't a video of the whole thing, but he was like sitting there with, I guess, Chuck Collins's father, who was also his attorney. And Lewis was just like talking freely.
Right.
You know, too bad he was mumbling, so you can't really understand him too well. But he was like talking freely, like, yeah, then we did this, and then Sigfredo said this, and then we did this, you know.
Yeah. And then when they would ask something or when he would start saying something, he said, oh, wait, you know what? I'm not even going to say that because I'm not sure. I don't want to say something that's not true. You could just tell he was flowing with it. It wasn't made up in any way. It wasn't just grabbing these things from the sky. Yeah, I had to do a lot of transcribing on that. It's hard to understand, but what he gave the prosecution was priceless,
Mhm.
thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this question, why not invite Tara Kawas? Yeah, I don't think she would do that because, you know, she was Katie's attorney, so she still has to maintain client confidentiality. So I don't think Tara would want to be put in that uncomfortable situation of having to answer lots of hard questions from people. Like, do you still really believe she's innocent? You know, like, what did Katie tell you about when she said she wanted to do a proffer? Like, what do you know about the proffer? Yeah, I think that would just be a really tricky minefield that could just potentially, you know,
Right.
I mean, there's just too many ethical issues involved.
Sure.
So that's why most of the time the attorneys don't talk about the cases even after it's over.
Especially since there's still an appeal in the works.
Yeah, and there's still that client confidentiality that
Mhm.
remains. So, yeah, I thought Katie's defense, even to date, is she only thought Charlie needed someone to rough someone up or harm them. Yeah, but well, that wasn't her defense at her trials, but you know, that's what she said during the proffer.
Right.
Yeah, which I still don't think that's really credible because, you know, why would someone pay you $138,000 in cash just to have Sigfredo go and rough up somebody? It doesn't really make sense.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
okay, the proffers were hot messes. It's annoying how she's acting like she has no clue what a state court. Yeah, and she's the one who, through her attorney, DeCoste, contacted the investigators to say she wanted to make a proffer.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
It's curiouser and curiouser, as they say. It's just odd. I wish she would have been curiouser, though. That's for sure.
Mhm. Yeah,
About the whole thing when it was going on. Maybe it would have not happened, you know?
yeah.
But she
See.
knew. I think she knew. I think she knew and she was okay with it.
Yeah, Katie allows the jurors to taste what actually happened. We understandably wanted more, but Katie is still yeah, I mean, she's still good enough to know, you know, to say that, yeah, Charlie was totally the conduit. You know, with the family, I was talking to Charlie. Charlie told me this. Charlie gave me the instructions, and he said that he was very careful not to print it on his own printer. He was careful with not leaving fingerprints on the envelope. He gave me the money. His parents came by beforehand to bring the cash. So, Yeah.
I mean, even the envelope, it's like, okay, if he was being so careful about her not touching the envelope, she just threw it in this diaper bag, which would have had her DNA and all over it. Like, wouldn't she have put in a Ziploc bag first? Or, I mean, he didn't care if she got, I don't know. That seemed weird
Mhm.
too. That seemed so weird.
Yeah, he was just concerned about himself and his family getting caught. Yeah, Katie was expendable. Yeah, so she did mention the multi-money drop in the second video, but
Right.
we're not even halfway through this first video. So Dawn, I might have to ask you to come back, or I'm going to
Yes.
ask other people to jump in to,
Oh yeah, I knew it would
okay,
take some time.
good.
That's why I haven't done it on my channel. I'm like, this is going to be like several videos. I'm glad to do it with you. It's
Oh,
great.
thank you. Thank you, Dawn. Yeah. Katie might suddenly remember some details if she's offered something to tell. Yeah, but that wouldn't be helpful to the state, though, because then Wendy's attorney could jump all over them and say, look, during these first two Proffer videos, you didn't say anything about Wendy. So who are you now, a year later, to be running back and then saying all sorts of crap against Wendy? That really would hurt her credibility to suddenly come up with something about Wendy. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, she doesn't have the communications skills. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of nonchalant, Charlie, he talks in, what is, not metaphors, what's her word? Scenarios. Scenarios, like, I mean, yeah, that's Katie's sentences. It's pretty scary.
Mhm.
Hard to get through what
Yeah,
she's
and
actually saying.
the funny thing is that after listening to more of Charlie's recent jail calls, you realize Charlie is just as inarticulate as Katie is. He keeps saying like he's some
Mhm.
teenage valley girl or something, and he just keeps saying the same thing 50 million times. So he's not Mr. Articulate himself on the phone.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
That's another I'm only able to take those in doses. It's just hard to take those calls.
Mhm.
It's
Especially
just
when he's twisting the truth or only giving a slight little snippet of info to try to turn his friend or turn whoever he's talking to be in his corner even more. Like, he doesn't tell the whole truth. He's just constantly lying and spinning a tale. And these people eat it up. Yeah. His yes men or yes women.
I just feel he was so badly used by his mother, by his family,
Mhm.
probably his whole life. I don't.
Yeah. And Donna would always back him up. That's what I've heard from multiple people who actually knew Donna or the family, is that, Charlie was always getting into trouble. Donna's always just helping him, making excuses for him. He's the golden child, letting him get away with all his bad behavior. So she
Right.
was a total enabler. She didn't seem like a parent. She was more like his buddy.
Right. Exactly. She didn't. And I believe Jeff Lacoste said that Wendy revealed to him that when Charlie was a child, he was a what do they
Problem
call it?
child.
Problem child. But
Behavioral problem.
yeah, like there's I can't think of the word right now, but
Conduct disorder.
conduct disorder.
Conduct disorder child.
Meaning he had probably certain classes and to be separated. I mean, this isn't, and so with that, for the family to continue to engage him in this way, like have him arrange a murder, knowing who he was, it just seems cruel, because I do feel like Charlie's mentally not all there, and they used him in a way. You know what I mean? It just seems
like something definitely is wrong with him, with his mind. Yeah, he
Right.
just sincerely believes all this made up stuff that he keeps spewing and
right.
repeating.
And they created him. It's sick.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like what kind of mother would do that?
Yeah,
To a
she
son?
fostered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
LJ brings up a good point, which I've seen in some people's comments.
Hmm.
So Garcia's appeal is dead. Like his appeal already got denied maybe like 2 years ago. So his appeals have been denied. He filed a motion for post-conviction relief, which again is like a Hail Mary, like something went wrong, judge, even though my appeal failed, something's got to be done because of injustice, like some vague theory like that. So there's been no hearing date scheduled for that so far, but he filed that motion for post-conviction relief about, I don't know, like 3 months ago, possibly 3 or 4 months ago. So I went over part of it in previous live streams. So I need to also ask James, what's the timeline on that, because there's no hearing scheduled there.
Right. I don't see Garcia wanting to help Katie ever. Anyway, just he showed so much disdain toward her during his proffer. He was not happy about Katie, the way she treated his buddy, as well as getting them into this mess and getting his friend into this mess, which ultimately got him into this mess. Of course, he's a big boy. He could have said no, but he blames Katie for this whole thing.
Yeah, maybe at this point, he realizes that Katie got him into this huge mess.
Well, he even said that in his like in 2016, he flat out blamed Katie. Yeah.
Oh, in what? Oh, Luis?
Luis, yes.
Yeah, definitely Luis. I thought you were talking about Sigfredo.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I definitely heard this from the other YouTubers about, Wendy. Or actually, that was also something Donna was complaining about too, when she was like crying on the phone with Charlie before she got arrested, that, Wendy just sent her some texts and said, don't talk to me or don't text me about this. I had nothing to do with Danny's murder. But that makes sense. If I were her attorney, I would have told her the same thing. Just stop texting, stop calling these people. Charlie's gone down, your mom is going down, you don't have anything to gain by calling and texting your parents or calling Charlie. So
right. And I think somebody here commented about Harvey not taking some of Donna's calls as well. They would be smart to speak through their attorneys only at this point, don't you think? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Nothing good will come out of it.
No.
And now look, all these people on YouTube are listening to your phone calls because it's on record. Haha. As if you didn't hear that recording repeatedly, that this is a recorded line.
Yeah,
There's no privacy. Yeah.
Recorded and possibly monitored, it says, which is
Yeah. Okay. Can't tell the girlfriends' voices apart. They have that rough, gravelly vocal. Oh, did you notice this? That doesn't Bree sometimes sound like the way Donna talks? I kind of started getting Donna vibes from the kind of like a lower semi-sexy, mumbling voice, and then constantly coddling Charlie and saying, yes, that's right. Oh yeah. Like I totally agree with you. I don't know if anybody else thought that too, but the more I kept hearing of those phone calls, the more I was like, she sort of sounds like his mom, like that same tone of voice. Yeah. Like,
it really gives you like, he's not taking care of Bree. He's taking care of Janice and his dog better than he's taking care of Bree and his child.
It seems really weird, like why is she still all smitten with him and saying that she'll do anything for him. She still supports him, doesn't challenge him on any of the ridiculous things he keeps talking about. But go figure, money can be a big motivator. Yeah. She's gonna start saying Charlie. Maybe if that's what he would like her to do, I'm sure she would like to sound more like Donna. Yeah. Okay, we'll wind it down. I'm sorry to keep you so long. It's been over.
We're good. We're good.
Oh, how do I feel? I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. Like, should I be proud or should I be concerned? Well, I'm glad that Charlie is convicted and sentenced to life. So that part is good. I'm sure plenty of other people felt safer once Charlie got arrested, because for so many years, Charlie's still out there. People have said that he knew how to get back at people through surreptitious, sneaky, underhanded ways, so it couldn't be traced back to him. So, but that's okay. I mean, whenever we do this stuff out on YouTube, we don't know who's watching us. And
That's right.
it could be Rashbaum taking notes. It could be Rashbaum's assistant or legal assistant or intern, watching all the YouTubers to try to pick up on, what are people saying? Is anything incorrect? Is it a good tip on how they should strategize? Who knows who's watching us? So Dawn, if Bree or Rashbaum or Donna's attorney, if they're watching us, what would you like to say to them?
Well, hey, thanks for watching. Appreciate that.
Please hit that like button and subscribe.
Like,
Watch the
subscribe,
ads.
and share. No, I would say, because my channel is geared to, I am a potential juror. We're all potential jurors. And so if attorneys and law, students want to, find out what people are thinking about a particular case, then social media is a great place to find that out, what jurors might be thinking. And so when they go, because the juror, voir dire is such an important part of any trial. And so if they can get any kind of insight into what kind of questions or what they should be looking for to potentially rule in or out, and this for the prosecutors, more importantly, hey, that's why my channel is public. We're all potential jurors, and I hope you pick up on some tips, and all the best, because I do think there are people that shouldn't be in prison. And I really feel for those who have been unjustly convicted and spent years in prison. Some are still trying to get out, and they, so I do believe in this legal system. It's pretty good. It works pretty well. And I hope they're all listening, and no offense to anyone. Sorry. Sometimes we slip. Sometimes I slip and say something rude about people, but I try not to.
Yeah. Okay. So did you hear that phone call with Janice? It's funny that one of the YouTubers called her the housekeeper.
I know. They call her the housekeeper. Yeah, she's a housekeeper. All right. Oh my goodness. And then Janice is going to hear Donna and Charlie talking about her now.
Mhm.
As is June going to be hearing these calls, because these calls have been released. So anybody in that orbit they talked about, you're going to be hearing yourself talked about. Charlie was not, Charlie was nice. In fact, I think Charlie was defending June to Donna. Donna seemed to, oh, by the way, on that, Donna seemed to be very much aware of what was being said in social media during the trial. Because remember when she made that comment about the APB being put out on June? That there was no AP. Charlie was like, what? APB? Now I guess I missed that. Donna was kind of joking about what had happened, and Charlie kind of didn't get the joke right away, but there was no APB, and he actually thought that she meant that. She got that from a lot of the comments in social media. We were all like, APB, Junam Shinda. It was kind of cute, kind of funny moment in the trial. So they're watching everything.
Yeah.
They're watching it.
So again, as even Fancy says, everybody is innocent, presumed innocence until pronounced guilty. These are just our opinions only.
100%.
Everybody's allowed to have an opinion out there. And
right.
So, just as Ryan Fitzpatrick said, what difference does it make? What doesn't make?
Right.
Yeah.
And if
it's free speech.
It's free speech. If you don't like it, like on my channel, if you don't like it, hey, there's other channels to go watch. It's okay.
Exactly.
Can't please everybody.
Yeah, there have been a few commenters that just keep singing the same song about how, this was so unfair. Charlie was unfairly convicted, and you guys are mean, and you're just gossiping. And I'm like, okay, are you paid by the Adelsons to spread this propaganda on YouTube because these accounts will just keep posting and posting on the same channels, but I've blocked them already on my.
To, I guess, to lunch or to wherever you're going next.